All right, here we are, guys. Winners Finals is amongst us, and trust me, it's going to be a good one. I'm Taylor Noble, or Reflections. Joining me is Landon, Lando Centers, and Fallout. And, guys, who do we have playing in the Winners Finals?
Oh, boy. We've got the TSM boys facing off against Avxry and High Distortion. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, how are you going against your FaZe guys like that? You said TSM boys.
Did I really?
Hey, look,
TSM.
FaZe.
It's been a long day.
TSM, no, I get it. TSM's the team. That's my team, all
That's
right?
his team.
I'm not
But how
gonna
can
lie,
you forget your favorites?
I'm not going to I was staring at you, and I just automatically see TSM.
You think
Hashtag
TSM,
TSM wins.
Hey,
so.
I'll take that all day. You see me and you
Apologies.
see TSM. Hey, pick me up. Let's go. Let's get it.
That'd be cool.
No.
What are TSM reflections?
TSM Reflections.
That sound has a ring to it, yeah.
It
Yeah.
definitely does. I would have to give up my original Reflections that I just got, but that's okay.
impressive.
It's definitely worth it, I think.
I think
Definitely
so.
worth it. But, hey, this is going to be a good match. High Distortion has been proving himself, and they've already dropped, and we're in the midst of a game. Guys, we got a Shifty, and then we also have a Tilted.
Yeah, indeed we do. Hey, High Distortion and AV dropped Tilted last game. It went well for them. They're feeling confident, and why wouldn't they be? You have High Distortion on your team, who on the bottom right of your screen is popping off right now. 3 kills already for HD. Sorry, make that actually 7 kills as we joined a little bit late, as High Distortion continues to impress in this tournament.
That's the thing, though. He has to go off because Avxry just died. Avxry is
Oh,
eliminated.
my
He is
gosh.
gone. So
Unbelievable.
now it's all in High Distortion. This is why I talk about, well, I like the tilted plays. It's high risk. It's high reward, right? You're going to have those opportunities where you can really have quite a bit of kills. But I feel like versus this FaZe team, it's about consistency. It's about staying alive. And so that's why I was a little bit worried heading coming into this game. I think you got to change the strategy up. I know what they're used to, and I'm not hating on it by any means. Their aggressive play, High Distortion, unbelievable player, along with Avxry, of course. He's got 7 kills, and he's still alive. He's going to have to 1v4 for the rest of the game. But to me, that's the issue. When a lot of players, a lot of teams come up against FaZe, they don't really change up their strategies to face off against them, because for them, it's about consistency. And it's hard to counter consistency when you do these high-risk, high-reward plays, because a majority of the time, it doesn't work out for you. Tilted Towers, it's a hard place to strategize around.
Yep, that's so true. And look, High Distortion, I hinted at it earlier, Mr. Solo Squads himself. If
Yep.
you're a fan of High Distortion, I have friends that back home, and myself, I love to watch High Distortion stream. He plays Solo Squads more than I think any top player, and he has so much experience in this exact scenario. So in my opinion, if you're HD, you just want to survive, stay alive, make it to late game. You have a 7-kill lead right now. Sorry, now it's a 5-kill lead, as TFUE just picked up 2. But you're in a pretty good spot here. Now you can see HD just playing this really smart, really cautious. If I had my money on anyone in a Solo Squad scenario, it'd be HD.
And something I just want to point out, maybe just bringing it back a little bit with TFUE. Okay, one of the things that he is well known with doing is obviously his pushes. When his pushes, where before he would build the ramp and then the wall. But something that has developed, at least in terms of competitive Fortnite, whenever it comes to building and the push, it's got even more complex. Whenever you have the lower position and you're pushing up for the higher position, what they do now is they do ramp, wall, floor, ramp, wall, floor, to give it that kind of triple protection from anybody who's going to be below him. Of course, though, if you're pushing with somebody on the high, still the ramp and the wall is the way to go. But who just dropped here?
Oh, my
And
God.
he's got
High Distortion.
What
Nearly
High Distortion just did,
Yeah.
he almost dropped, but what he just did on screen
Oh, no.
is unbelievable. Someone please clip that at some point, because High Distortion in a 1 versus 4 just obliterated the other team, and he's not done yet. Can he connect for the last kill? Yes, he does. It's actually another squad that's going to come through. So HD is going off right now in a 1 versus 8 against 2 different squads. He gets high ground, and look at the advantage that he has as a result. HD is playing out of his mind.
High Distortion, man. Unbelievable play, like you just said. 11 kills, now 12 overall. Back-to-back squads. He has no mats, and that can become a little bit worrisome. But when you got a shot like this guy, the intuition like this guy, it's going to be incredibly difficult. Welcome for about a quarter of a second.
another
player in his midst. 14 frags. And there are still, nearly half the lobby is still alive. He has 14. He is on pace for about 30 kills, boys.
Which, by the way, would be a
By
record.
himself.
That'd be a solo record almost, wouldn't it be?
It would be. Well, at least in Friday Fortnite, it would be.
In Friday Fortnite. What is the solo record, actually? I think it's like 20.
It might be
I
Ninja's
think
23.
TFUE has it, actually.
It might.
No, it's not 23. It's more. I think it's 27 or 28, maybe.
Well, I mean, in Friday Fortnite, I think.
No, Friday Fortnite is 23.
Yeah.
That's Ninja. But,
okay.
I mean, I'm talking about overall. I mean, this guy is on pace. And with this many
He was one of the
engagements
first
plus
record
by
holders.
himself, he could be a huge record holder here.
This is
and High
insane.
Distortion is proving himself over. And what a time to do it with your teammate down. And going against FaZe of all teams, if he can single-handedly hold this up, you're talking about a legendary performance.
Unbelievable gameplay. High Distortion, welcome to Keemstar's Friday Fortnite. You are absolutely killing it right now with 14 kills and 44 people still alive in the game. HD is popping off.
And you want to talk about a scenario where a team is facing off against FaZe. being in a 1v2 and having to make a comeback. Sounds pretty familiar. Actually, I think back to week 2, we actually saw someone do this exact same play.
Yep.
It was Ninja. He was down. His teammate King Richard died early, and he made a massive comeback with, like I said, 23 eliminations. That's what we're kind of seeing, a similar pace right now for High Distortion. Granted, it's not as much of a deficit, but 14 kills coming out of Tilted. A lot of those solo. This is unbelievable play. This is unprecedented, and this is what's an awesome moment that we get to see. It was such a highly awaited time to see High Distortion, like you said there, Keemstar's Friday Fortnite tournaments, and he's absolutely coming out to play. Of course, on the opposite, we got to give credit to FaZe. I believe we just saw a nice little, I think that was a C4 clutch, kind of throws it over the wall, does TFUE, comes back around and kind of pinches his own C4 along with the excess fire to find that elimination. Now up to 5, 9 in total for FaZe throughout this game. And like I said, High Distortion, he's got more than the 2 combined, but like I said, the deficit obviously coming into play. We'll see if he can continue to go on with this dominance.
High Distortion right now, and this is where you see a little bit of a weakness in Tilted. Is again, we talked about it often, not to beat a dead horse, but the rotation after Tilted, it's been about 3-4 minutes now. HD has not seen one person. He's trying to spot the people that are coming out of Pleasant Park, maybe Anarchy Acres, but TFUE and Cloakzy are coming back kill by kill. They were down by about 5 a moment ago, now only down by 2, but there you go. Finally, HD going to spot one in Loot Lake. TFUE and Cloakzy not in sight, so HD should be able to clean this kill up, but he's going to have a challenge in front of him as he's fighting yet another squad.
Yeah, even at this point, as actually I'll get onto that point in just a second. You see High Distortion in a great battle here. He's got to be careful. Still, though, maxed out shield, maxed out health. He's going to be looking good, trying to edit as much as he possibly can, but going through a lot of resources. He was kind of whiffing just a little bit, trying to get this high ground as he manages to do. But this team is so vicious. In fact, they're shooting out his builds, and this is going to showcase his skills overall as he does get not. No, he doesn't get the knock. He just about got it, but this team is definitely putting up a fight. Finally, one knock in his possession. The great edit to get out of there to once again get the high ground. His mats are dwindling. He's got to finish up this team fight soon, or else he is going to be out of mats and be forced to take the low ground. Luckily, that player drops off, and I believe we do see another snipe coming in from Cloakzy from 232 meters. Shot at the him. That's a good shot. But, man, if High Distortion can make it out of here, he's going to pick up at least 4 more kills. Yep.
Cloakzy and TFUE are actually coming in for the kill, the steals here on High Distortion. But, wow, how has High Distortion been alive this long? What a performance from him. He downs one. Going to pick up the earlier kill. He's going to get this kill to his right now as well. And High Distortion somehow, some way, has barely even taken any damage. Can he finish it? Yes, he does. HD wipes yet another squad. The squad killer himself, officially deemed as such. HD is popping off with 18 kills to his name right now.
He took 30 damage.
The entire fight.
In the entirety of that last team fight. Oh, you can't even call it a team fight, right? A 1v4 fight. That is absolutely. Look at this ramp. Like, let's look at the Taj Mahal that was just built there for a moment as we switch to TFUE here. But on High Distortion, right? The amount of the plays that he makes is unreal. And the ability for him to not take damage. I mean, there's a lot of guys who can make plays similar to that by taking lots of damage. They take a med kit, they take some shields. But to only take 30 damage, that is unbelievable. You want to talk about the player awareness that he has. All the credit to High Distortion. He is living up to the hype and more. Like, probably like times a million by that point.
At this point, I don't know how many kills Avxry had, but at this point, they still have a 2-kill. Or excuse me, how many kills?
Avxry had 1 kill.
Avxry had 1 kill,
wow.
So they still have a 3-kill lead. A 3-kill lead. He has 18 kills by himself. Plenty of engagement still to remain. We see a total of 18 engagements. He is well on par to take over the Friday Fortnite championship over Ninja, who had 23, but already another knock. And that's just a knock, which means there's more players still remaining.
And as the zone starts to get smaller, I always like to call it like the final 30. Well, we are down to like 17 engagements at this point. The amount of engagements that you're going to find out of these like initial kind of ending 30 is actually insane because of how much smaller the zone gets. Because once the zone gets smaller, you have a lot more of an opportunity to take down those players as you're in a smaller playing zone. So this is a big opportunity where we could see High Distortion. Well, he's at 19 right now. By the way, TFUE's at 12. But as he's at 19, he can absolutely get to 25, 26, around that range with the amount of players he's going to have the opportunity to spot.
Yep, and HD right now fighting yet another team by himself. Here's going to tag up Carbide. Carbide not even able to get a shot off as HG is just going to completely shut him down in that fight. Make that 20 kills for High Distortion as he is now 3 kills away from breaking the Fortnite Friday record held by Ninja when he had that miraculous performance with King Richard by himself in week number 2.
I just want to point out, too, High Distortion has his primary weapon. He has a purple scar, right? He has the pump shotgun as well, plus the hunting rifle. But he's opted to use that purple submachine gun, which is obviously in the new meta now since the shotguns were, in fact, nerfed.
Yeah.
And it just comes to show you can absolutely shred. The damage per second on that, I believe, is over 200, just a hair over 200 damage per second. So you're talking about massive damage. Now, of course, even showing with the Scar usage, as we know, that's a powerful weapon in itself. Ooh. But there he is, pulls out the submachine gun once again to get the final kill, and he's going to go ahead and thirst him to get it. That's 21. That is 21. He's 2 kills off of Ninja's record.
Well, the one thing that's really nice is he actually happens to be in another fight as well. We'll get to that point here in just a moment because now it's about the Bills. It's about how many kills can he find, taking some damage, 75 health, no shields to his name, but he's got one in his back pocket, putting down the traps, putting down the walls, and needing to go for the recovery. Pulls out the edit and is trying to grab that high ground as he can finally rest assured for a few moments. High Distortion, known for these fast-paced gameplay, finally starts to slow it down for a moment, getting back to that 100 shields as he can start to try and figure out where these players are. Of course, reloading the TAC SMG, like you just said, Taylor, it's been his primary weapon of choice when it comes down to these fights, but he still has the high ground. Players are roaming around where he could be. He happens to be right on top of you. High Distortion making his play, making himself known in the Fortnite community as one of the best players in the entire world, up to 21 kills, now to 22, and it's going to be 23 with his final elimination. And as the players are knocked down, there is still a teammate around here, and he happens to be right
He broke
in front
it.
of
He got it.
There is 24 kills.
High Distortion makes Friday Fortnite history with 24 kills, beating Ninja's previous record of 23.
Insane.
High Distortion, welcome to Friday Fortnite. You have bursted onto this scene. A lot of people knew of his skill before this, but this is the first time he's had the stage to prove his skill and prove his ability. High Distortion is an absolute monster.
And not to mention,
There's
TFUE
two
has
frags left. There's two frags left in this game.
frags left, and he spots. Does he spot one of them? I just wanted to point out too. TFUE's sitting at 16 kills himself. They only have a 1-kill lead. Literally a 1-kill lead. High Distortion has single-handedly held these players off. Goes through the Raptor dance, which, by the way, is one of the best. And you see a cry come out from, I believe that was Cloakzy. But you got to say, he knows. I mean, you talk about a performance, and he could still get even more. He's already broke Friday Fortnite history, and now he's looking to do even more with 2 frags still remaining. You talk about a performance. High Distortion comes through big with Friday Fortnite, and huge in a big way. Even if they lose this game going into the second game, which who knows, I'm not counting them out by any means. You talk about a performance that's going to last at least a couple of Friday Fortnites.
Oh, absolutely. But the thing is, right, there's 1 kill difference. There are 2 more engagements left. This is a situation where we can obviously highlight what we've seen from High Distortion, but if he wants to do this, he can close out this game. One thing that was nice about Ninja's play is that he forced the map 3 off of a tie. We could also see the exact same thing here, a teammate, rather, going out early, being tilted in 1v4 squads. That's what Ninja did exactly. That's what's happening in High Distortion as well. In this exact same scenario, I believe, as Cloakzy finds that kill, that should be it, I believe. That should be pretty much all she wrote. While High Distortion pulls off one of the most amazing games in Friday Fortnite history, the solo record is smashed. And along with that, it also could be his chances of making into the winners, or rather, the grand finals.
Yeah, absolutely. $7,000, like we keep talking about, is bare minimum if you make it into the grand finals. I mean, that is a huge chunk of change. And of course, playing it out for $10,000 in the end, as we see the final kill on your screen. And I believe that player actually died from fall damage or didn't stick the landing, unfortunately. But even so, with that being said, that's okay. High Distortion, what a performance, came in 24 kills. The overall score, I believe, is going to be a 27-25, a 2-kill difference. Literally, you're talking about, first off, you're going against one of the most successful teams in Friday Fortnite, and you pose that big of a kill lead. Absolute phenomenal work. High Distortion, I'm so happy he's in our tournaments now.
I also want to point out, we talked about High Distortion getting the singles record.
Yeah.
The overall duos, or the overall squad record, was Nick A 30 and One Shot Girl and the FaZe Boys. They put up 53.
Yeah.
I believe if it was 27-25, that's 52.
52,
They were
wow.
1 kill away from not just getting the solo kill record,
But also the
also
squad.
the entire team record in Friday Fortnite as well.
They would have tied it if that person would have fell.
That's what I'm saying. Whenever that happened, I was like, no! Like, they could have literally broken nearly 2 records in one game.
That's insane.
Unreal. Like, High Distortion, I was very excited to see his play. I wasn't really sure what to expect. I know he was kind of like around my power rankings as like a top 7, top 16, potentially around there. But, I mean, you want to talk about his play, man. I mean, he is unreal. And in Tilted Towers as well. He's 1v4ing teams, not just around the map, but in Tilted Towers of all places. He was dismantling teams. He was fully aware of what was happening at all times. class act from High Distortion. All the credit to him, man.
Yeah, completely agree. I got to give a shout out to my boy Paul back home. He's been talking about High Distortion as the best player in the game since the very beginning. I mean, High Distortion making a statement right now on Friday Fortnite.
Absolutely.
It has been a pleasure to watch, but there's still a game 2 ahead of us. We can't get ahead of ourselves yet. High Distortion has a big task ahead of him, down by 2 kills to FaZe Clan, which is no easy feat.
And like I talked about before, it really comes down to Avxry kind of matching Cloakzy's play style and Cloakzy's skill. We saw Avxry drop a little bit early. Of course, that's tilted, very volatile place. For High Distortion to make it out of it is just godly status, to be honest with you. But Avxry definitely has to step it up in this next game. Imagine if he was alive. But then again, would it have been the same? And that's the thing we always call like, oh, imagine if his teammate was alive. Would High Distortion have been as aggressive? You know, that's the thing. We don't know. Would he have found as many engagements? Would he have made the pushes he made? It happened exactly how it should have happened.
Butterfly effect, right? You don't know what's going to happen. But I think High Distortion would have been more aggressive. But I think that goes to show, too, that the importance of splitting in this game mode. High Distortion did all that by himself. If Avxry's with him, they get the same amount of kills. Maybe Avxry picks up a few of the kills instead, but there's no reason to stay together if players like High Distortion, Ninja, TFUE can do what they do as individuals. So
here we go.
We'll see what they do in game number 2.
Oh, boy.
Second game, 27-25. TFUE and Cloakzy against Avxry and High Distortion. This is the second game. This is grand finals. $7,000 minimum. Whoever takes over this victory, who loses will be moving down to the loser bracket. And a big round, as we see now, FaZe is going to be just outside. It looks like, outside of Salty Springs. And looking at Avxry and High Distortion, they're going to the residential side of retail, or just outside of retail, which is a spot we've seen. But great. I'm not against any of these spots for either which team.
Yep, on board with HD at the bottom right. You see him getting a green AR early, popping a shield. A little bit of a passive start for both of these teams. It's all going to be about the rotation over to Salty Springs and to Retail Row after they get looted up just a bit.
All right, well, just taking it a little bit slow. They're going to be kitting up, getting those resources, getting the weapons in their back pocket for the inventory. And I do expect, or at least I expected to see kind of the beginning of this to be a little bit slower. But TFUE's already in the action with that revolver in his back pocket, or excuse me, that pistol in his back pocket. Picking up some
that range?
Hey, look. Hey, listen. Anything in TFUE's hands is going to be deadly, and that range just comes to showcase how accurate TFUE really is, but he's got to watch out. He's getting tagged up from the back. Him getting dropped this early would be detrimental to the team. He's definitely got to pick it up at this point. Cloakzy is going to be joining him in the back, and both inventories not looking too hot. In fact, TFUE's been hitting all those shots, but he's been running out of ammunition. He doesn't have too much, and these teams are still pushing.
Oh, he's going to get tagged up. All of his shields gone in that moment. Of course, the slurp juice still ticking for him, but Cloakzy should be able to wrap up some of these kills here, doing a great job of exactly that, working the wide left angle, and that's one thing you don't talk about often, is the importance of getting angles in Fortnite, working wide left, working wide right, and you see Cloakzy do it perfectly there.
Absolutely the case. And, of course, now on board with Cloakzy screen, taking down enemies as per usual, right? We talked about the amount of kills in the first game. The amount of potential for the second game is nearly just as high as well. I mean, we talked about the original play. Obviously, the landing zones now making their way in toward Dusty Divot. That's what I call it, man, the interstate of Fortnite. You can really choose where you like to go, of course, based on the circle, right? But based off Dusty Divot, you have so many different opportunities to make certain location spots, but it looks like a nice play there coming in from Avxry in our top right, of course. Not really normally going to see too many players in that kind of middle building in Dusty Divot for the most part, especially at times like this. But where the zone is at currently, kind of playing that gatekeeping role, is not too untypical. But nice plays coming in from Avxry there as he picks up a casual 2 frags.
Yeah, this is going to come down to the wire here. 1 kill lead for FaZe right now as they were up 2 kills coming into game number 2. But High Distortion and Avxry leading 5. Actually, no, I believe it's tied right now. Yes, it is. Sorry. Tied right now in game number 2. 2 kill lead for FaZe still going in game number 2 as HD and Avxry really are going to have to break away here with a solid rotation.
I got to say, I absolutely don't mind Avxry and High Distortion being where they are at this point, because TFUE and Cloakzy, their natural rotation at this point is, in fact, going to be down in Dusty Divot. So they may pick up some kills, which they have been inside of Salty Springs. They'll pick up some loot, but they're not going to pick up any more kills because Avxry and High Distortion's already cleaned up Dusty Divot. So at this point, Avxry, High Distortion, they get the kills where FaZe is going to be rotating to, and on top of that, they're also going to get a head start into the circle, or at least on the edge of the circle, to pick up even more kills where FaZe is going to be lacking. So a lot of potential here for more kills in Avxry and High Distortion's favor. FaZe, they might get some more, like I said, but it's going to slow down as the match is going to continue on.
Yeah, I was happy about both teams' landing spots overall, just based off of what really was that cataclysmic first game in general, but a nice knockdown coming in from TFUE quickly. The nice little edit along with the official elimination, of course, the knockdown deems the fact there is at least one more team remaining when it comes into Salty Springs. But like I said, overall, pretty happy about the landing spots. Nothing too aggressive, pretty much standard play. And that's what you want to see after a very heavy-hitting game number 1.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Only down by 2 kills. There's no reason to drop tilted, and that's why I think you saw Avxry and HD made the decision not to go tilted, that they favored the last two games that they've played. And as you see right now, the Salty Springs rotation, HD and Avxry rotating towards Loot Lake and towards tilted, so they're going to push the west side of the map and are going to be looking for some frags in that area, as no one on either team has been able to kind of claim that spot just yet.
1 frag lead for the men of FaZe, TFUE, and Cloakzy. Avxry and Distortion has been closing it out quite well. They just got a nice kill overall, but like I said, their vantage point where they're at is going to pay off. I think in the end, they're making their way over towards Loot Lake, as we're going to see FaZe kind of trying to make their way over, but they're not going to find as many engagements, at least in my opinion. I don't think they will, but then again, I've been wrong all the time, so that's okay. We'll see if FaZe will be able to find it. But
buddy.
Hey, you know what? I can't, because it's true. All right, but we do see an engagement on Distortion stream. It's going to be over at the middle building of Loot Lake. Of course, he can't really push that. He'll try to get some dings with the hunting rifle, and he does. In fact, get a ding. Can he get the second to finish off? Just missing by a hair, but that's okay. They're going to be actually pursuing this, and I absolutely agree with that. They've got to start going for these kills. They've got to start thirsting them. They're only a kill down. They've got to make sure they get every single possible kill they can, but pretty low on mats. So if they do get in a build war, I'm kind of a little bit worried for Distortion, but he can make it out of it.
And I never really thought about this, but I think really having a sniper rifle around the outskirts of Loot Lake is such a nice thing to have. Kind of long-range weapons in general.
Sure.
Reason being, we talk about how difficult it is to obviously build in the water, along with the fact of how slow players are if they don't have builds as well. That's exactly what you want to have if you're a sniper player, the ability to have a guy who's not moving too much and doesn't have the ability to build. That's a dream scenario for a long-range weapon. But kind of going along with that, I think based off of both of our teams, we talk about how similar they are regarding their kills, regarding play styles at times as well. I think it's kind of fair to say Avxry kind of plays a little bit like a Cloakzy regarding kind of playing a little bit second fiddle, not the fastest player, especially when you got a guy like TFUE and or Distortion on your team. Both guys who are fantastic builders, guys who can kind of hang out from a long range. Then you also compare Distortion to TFUE, up in your face, aggressors, the great line sights, great editing, kind of quick on their feet kind of play style. I think regarding both of our teams, these could be kind of the most similar pair that we have in the entire tournament.
Yeah, and Landon, that's a great point. I think one thing that's understated in Fortnite is the importance of roles. Very similar to old school competitive Halo. You have support players, you have slayers, you have individuals that fill different roles based on different weapons that they're great at. And I think that you see the same in Fortnite. Cloakzy being a little bit more of a support player. Obviously, everyone needs to be able to turn up when it matters the most. As now HD in a pretty tough spot here. We've seen this happen time and time again. HD going to take out one, still manages to stay alive, only 29 HP, and he does it. Avxry comes in for the save as well. Not over yet, as this squad is still alive somewhere. They have someone lurking. He has to be careful.
I talked about it. Avxry needed to step up, and my boy has 4 kills in his back pocket, plus 5 with Distortion. 9 total kills. Looking at it, and then we have a total of 8 on the left. So still, with that knock, though, if he gets the thirst, it will, in fact, be a tied up ball game. You talk about coming down to just the last amount of frags. That's exactly what we're seeing as kills are going down. Both sides, definitely one of the most highly contested games we have seen so far yet tonight. Loving what I'm seeing overall, and I'm liking what I'm seeing from Avxry. He needed to step up, and he does so. Do I spot a player coming in with the jump head? Yes, I do. And look at this. They're going to collapse down on that guy, and it should be an easy kill as Avxry gets it. Gets the elimination. That puts him now at a total of 11 on the right. On the left, we're looking at, 8 kills? So we finally have a lead takeover for Avxry and Distortion.
And one thing I'm always worrying about is like what those guys are thinking about when they're coming into this game. Like, oh yeah, like my teammates are probably already following. Like, hey guys, I'm gonna carry the load. I'm gonna bring it back. There's 20.
Talking about the random opponents.
Oh yeah. And it's just like, what are they thinking in that situation? Like, whenever they have no idea that Avxry and Distortion are in a game, but to potentially get to face off for $17,000. Some of the best players in the world are in your lobby right now, buddy.
Yeah. And that's a great. If you look at the top right of your screen, that's a great pickup for Avxry and HD. As in the storm, they're able to knock 2 who otherwise would have just probably died to storm damage. So great pickup by HD and Avxry. I will say TFUE and Cloakzy in a more favorable spot and tilted in terms of getting kills, but Avxry and HD are doing just such a good job spotting out every single member on that northwest side of the map. Great plays from HD and Avxry here, and we have ourselves a great game in our hands. Only 21 left in the lobby.
And they're going to be on opposite sides. You're going to notice that. So really it's going to come down to RNG. Who's going to find the last remaining frags first? At this point, as we see, they're both going to be breaking out of the storm. But Avxry and High Distortion, just noticed when they pulled up that minimap, they have quite a few miles, at least. I don't know how far, at least whenever
Fortnite miles, I like that.
Fortnite miles to travel whenever it comes to getting inside that circle. But so does TFUE and Cloakzy.
Yeah.
As you see them, they're going to be crossing the river. Looks like they'll be trying to make their way into the storm. But 37-38, FaZe, one kill down. As you see, a little kill lead coming in from Avxry and High Distortion. I mean, got to say, loving what I'm seeing.
And I got to point out, too, we talk about, I know I've been talking about their similarities between these two teams, but after 7 weeks, I have not really been able to watch a team really kind of play the same strategy as FaZe to take them out, which is just consistent play through in and throughout, having some moments where you go to high priority areas and just succeeding. There isn't really many teams who have that same kind of DNA. And Avxry and High Distortion, like I said, are playing at that exact style. They're going multiple locations and having success. Like we said, we've seen TSM squads. We've seen some good moments from like Vixstar and Tinny. They've had some good tournaments. And I'm not hating on TSM by any means. I think they've had a different strategies to take down FaZe. But for a team to kind of play the same strategy and to have as much success, if not more, than them, this is unheard of. Like, this is unbelievable to see that Avxry and High Distortion come back, right, from the deficit that they were at. Avxry dropping early, they still finish off with 25-plus kills. They head into map number 2. They're at 13. We see FaZe right now at 10. They are hanging with them and taking over the typical FaZe strat, which is having success in different areas. And like I said, succeeding when the time calls for it. All the credit to Avxry and High Distortion. I am beyond impressed by this duo, and I hope they continue to play in our Friday Fortnite tournaments.
Yep, I couldn't agree more with that sentiment. I mean, great rotations, great drops. They've done so many things well. As actually they spotted someone behind them, but they want to not flirt with that storm. They want to obviously make a mental note of the fact that there's a team behind them, while also finding another team to fight, because this is going to come down to the wire. One of the best Friday Fortnite matches I've had a chance to watch and just enjoy, as it is a one-kill game right now with 19 people left in the lobby. It is going to come down to the wire. Avxry and HD up by 1, with Cloakzy and TFUE trailing and hungry for a win.
Mind you, this is literally all because High Distortion picked off 24 kills in the first round to keep Avxry and High Distortion alive. So got to give them props for that. And if they win this, I mean, High Distortion definitely has earned a spot in Friday Fortnite. It already has. What am I talking about? But here we are. FaZe looked like they were in a little fight there, and I do believe they picked off one player to put them at 10 overall. No, they didn't pick up a player. I don't know where those players went, but we are going to see that the storm is in fact going to be collapsing down. Look at the amount of frags left. We only have 14 remaining, and we only still have a 1-kill lead for Avxry and High Distortion. We do see TFUE on your screen with that scope. He's going to be knocking these two players in front of him, but Avxry and High Distortion, are they going to try and collapse down on it? Still, they're on different ends of the circle.
And one thing that I want to point out, when it comes down to late game, TFUE and Cloakzy are fantastic when it comes down to their vision. They're on the call, kind of plays. They're quick communication to each other to find out where these kind of final squads are. They are one of the best teams in the world at doing this, and I'm curious to see, with a little bit of a deficit that they have, what Avxry and High Distortion vend to do. Whether or not they're going to play up to that same pace, if they're going to try to challenge alongside FaZe, or go their opposite ways. It seems as if for right now, FaZe might have the advantage with the initial shots coming in this current squad engagement.
Yep, and here's where it gets really interesting, because they're going to merge fights right now, so it's a matter of who can pick up the last kills. HD is going to do exactly that by knocking 2, advancing that lead to 3 kills. Cloakzy picks up 1, so in the end, I believe it is a 3-kill lead for High Distortion and Avxry. HD in a 1 versus 4 with TFUE and Cloakzy in the area is able to pick up 3 of those kills. What a performance from HD.
Yeah, this is exactly how I wanted the ending to be. I wanted both teams to meet up at the end and fight for the frags left and right. We see a jump pad coming in, and all players using the same jump pad to kind of get in on the action. Absolutely don't blame them. As we do see High Distortion, he's going to be searching back and forth going through, but we see Avxry. Is Avxry going to be in a fight himself, or is he, he's trying to make up to that?
Yeah, he's a little delayed.
So
he's a little bit delayed.
Was that High Distortion using his own jump pad to get to another one?
It
or
was.
He just used the same one over again?
Yep.
Yeah, this is what I love to see, and this is something that we haven't seen anyone else do. A lot of teams, whenever they get versus FaZe, we actually see an engagement right now with TFUE and Cloakzy, as I believe they do find at least 2 in that position. So obviously getting closer to diminishing that deficit. But what a lot of teams don't do in this position is do what FaZe does. They kind of challenge throughout the map. A lot of teams will stick around them. What High Distortion doing is fantastic. Finding squads, using the exact same jump pad, and trying to initiate that fight just as much as FaZe is.
Yep, and what HD did right there is interesting. Rather than going to the fight that TFUE and Cloakzy were at, he actually left that fight and found a different squad because he's just trying to secure some kills here. He's no health right now, no shields. And it's not looking good. HD's going to lay down some traps, trying to stay alive here. Can he do it? Can he build? He's out of mats momentarily. He's going to go down. It is all up to Avxry now as HD and Avxry with a few kill lead loses their star player. HD is going to be bled out here momentarily, and it is all up to Avxry. Can Avxry do what his teammate did just one game ago? Can he clutch up?
Well, we see him spotting a player just ahead. He has to go big. Does he connect? He does not, as now we finally see he's going to be dropped on the screen, but Cloakzy picking up some loot. TFUE in a fight as well, and he picks up 2 players himself, and that might cement the win. As we see on TFUE screen, there's only 2 players remaining.
FaZe was down, so they find 2. I believe we're either at a tie ball game or it is FaZe who are
Avxry
right on the edges, but Avxry might have just pulled off one of the biggest kill steals in a long time.
No, this is oh no, he got the knock. He did get the knock.
Wow, so he does get,
and he got an elimination.
What? So, yeah,
so
Avxry's screen is a little bit delayed compared to TFUE. So, in that situation,
FaZe Cloakzy got the last 2 kills, I believe.
Wow.
This is what I love about Friday Fortnite. Everyone's trying to add up everything, and we don't even know who the victors are.
Unbelievable.
There are still 2 players up. This could be the deciding factor. I know FaZe right now are adding the Victory Royale comes through, and I believe that should be in FaZe's favor because of what Cloakzy does here at the end.
Let's look at Cloakzy's reaction here. Then again, this is the wrong person to look at
Get
reaction.
the calculators out, boys.
This guy literally never has any emotion. I just got to tell you, from any Friday Fortnite we've been watching, we look at Cloakzy, whether he wins or loses. He doesn't. But I don't know what grabbing the mouth means. Cloakzy, give me something, please. Tell me who took. Well, actually, let me.
Avxry looks stressed too. What is going on right now?
I think they might have lost. I think Avxry and High Distortion might have lost, but we're talking about a mere 1 or 2 kills as now we have production adding up the kills. But wow, what a phenomenal job from both teams. I told you I wanted Avxry to step up, and he absolutely did, and he played phenomenally well. High Distortion getting dropped, unfortunately, and if they do lose by a couple of kills, High Distortion's got to be hurting after that because that literally would have cemented their win. And here's the final score: 45-42. FaZe will be moving on to the finals to try and cement a 3rd Friday Fortnite victory. They've already have 2 going for the 3rd, and this is not the 3rd time they've been in the finals. $7,000 already to their names.
Yeah. I got to ask
what a play.
Do you think at this point High Distortion's like, yep, there goes my keyboard? Like, I done it to a controller in the past. Loses by 3 kills, 24 in game 1.
Yeah, unbelievable. And here's the thing. Hat goes off to FaZe. Such a consistent performance always, but High Distortion with a hero performance. He cannot be disappointed at all. Making history in Friday Fortnite, his first time playing a great game 2. He went down because he had to push that squad, that 1v3, 1v4 against the squad. Unfortunately, Avxry wasn't there to support or to get close to that fight, but he cannot hang his head. High Distortion, an amazing performance, and they still have a loser's bracket to fight through.
High Distortion, Avxry, they performed exceptionally well. Avxry stepped it up just like I wanted them to do, and I got to tell you, hats off. Honestly, it came down to the end, and I don't think either which team played bad.
Yeah, I want to point out the similarities though between Ninja's 23 and Distortion's 24, both versus FaZe, both in 1v2s, both in Tilted Towers, and both in their very first Friday Fortnite tournament.
It's crazy.
You went about the way that history likes to repeat itself, Fortnite likes to repeat itself, especially in our Friday Fortnite tournaments. It just puts a smile on my face because we talk about how we are being able to witness the beginnings, the start to Fortnite competitive. We haven't even scratched the surface, but just the ability to watch players like that pull off insane clutches. It only gets me more excited for the future of Fortnite competitive, the future of Fortnite esports, and watching insane players like High Distortion, Ninja, FaZe, Avxry, etc. All the amazing players that we have involved with Friday Fortnite. I just can't wait to watch the game evolve, continue to grow, and to see amazing players continue to have moments like that.
Absolutely, man. I got to tell you, this is why I love Friday Fortnite. You see some of the greatest matches, some of the greatest competitive matches you can showcase at this point between the top level players and streamers and YouTubers as well. And of course, with the non-franchise that we see Epic moving into, a lot of these streamers, YouTubers, it opens up an opportunity for them to come in and just maybe play for fun, and they might even honestly take a victory or maybe even qualify for one of the tournaments for Friday Fortnite. So much money is involved, $100 million on the line, and well, I guess now $97 million. We saw $3 million come to the E3 event.
Actually, that wasn't part of the.
It wasn't part of it. Oh, okay, awesome. So
they announced that. Yep.
I'm telling you,
Crazy.
money just going everywhere. I love it.
But it's funny, we talk about, right? A lot of the YouTubers and stuff could be getting contracts, or the Twitch streamers and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's funny because a lot of the pro players are becoming Twitch streamers and becoming personalities
And
themselves.
that's the interesting thing about
Yeah.
Fortnite. It's, we've obviously talked about the Drake and Ninja stream and how it's a blending of pop culture meets gaming culture, and,
Right.
and really a gaming influencer is now becoming a celebrity. But also from a competitive standpoint, Fortnite esports is a blend of the entertainers are also the pro players. So that's the first time that's happened in Call of Duty, in so many other games. You saw Shroud with CS:GO, and you had to retire as a pro player to pursue a full-time job as a Twitch streamer, as an entertainer. But now for the first time, the entertainers are also the pro players, and vice versa. It's just a crazy, crazy time, and I think that is what has propelled Fortnite to be the game that it is, and will propel Fortnite esports. A big shout out to KL Smith, Arctic, and the entire Fortnite esports team for doing some amazing things over at Epic.
I'm glad that you bring that up because it's like a matter of like competitive players, like the game kind of funding what the viewership is about, or the personalities funding what the viewership is about. In Fortnite, both. Right? You get the personalities along with the fantastic gameplay. Like I said, I think we're all kind of summarizing
CDN
the
the
exact
third,
same thing.
funniest guy
in
in streaming history, let alone Fortnite history. A lot of personalities out there.
But I think we're all kind of saying the same thing, that the future is bright. It's needless to say for Fortnite competitive, and we're super excited to be a part of it.
Absolutely. And guys, I'm super happy to have you involved with this Friday Fortnite and all the others. This is the 7th week of Friday Fortnite, the 6th week that we have streamed. And I got to tell you, thank you so much for all the support. But of course, more exciting matches to come. Loser bracket is stacked as always, and we're going to be hopping down there to see who's going to be moving forward to play FaZe in the grand finals. A lot of money still on the line, a lot of great matches. You don't want to go anywhere. Tweet it out using the hashtag Friday Fortnite. Get involved on the Twitterverse. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Everybody going through it like whoa, do it like whoa, do it like whoa, going through it like whoa. You already know. You already
Knock one. Knock one. We can jump out. We can jump out.
Second floor. Third floor. Third floor.
Third floor.
Oh, good job, dude. Really good job.
Two of them down there. Another one rushing you. Nice. Oh, I thought of my dad. I got you.
Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are now in our losers bracket to see who's going to fight it out to meet FaZe in the grand finals. My name is Taylor Noble, or at Reflections on the Twitterverse, and of course Lando Sanders and Fallout with 2 T's over there. I brought it back.
Oh,
There we
man.
go. I brought it back
You keep looking at me, man. That's Fallout right there. I'm not Fallout.
because I want to see your reaction, but I want to see your reaction too.
He's cool with Fallout with 2 T's. I'm cool with Fallout with 2 T's.
Is it settled now?
It is
I think it
absolutely
is.
settled.
I think we're good.
I think we're good to go. But we had Jaomock and Thief going against King Richard and Aimbotcalvin. Aimbotcalvin, we're not going to have his perspective, but that's okay. We'll still have King Richards to see how they perform, and they've been playing considerably well throughout our tournaments. And finally, I know you've been wanting to watch Jaomock and Thief.
I have.
Considerably. So now we're going to
Knocked out.
finally be able to see them.
Yeah, they got knocked out in winners round 1. I was like, yeah, this is my pick.
Dark
And then-
horse team.
Yeah, literally like 30 seconds later, someone's like, yeah, they got knocked out winners round 1. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, well, they were my dark horse
Actually,
pick. But they
didn't,
still have potential to
Who'd
obviously
they
make it
lose
through.
to?
King Richard and Aimbot.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, they
fun,
lost to
right?
King
I
Richard
think
and
it's a
Aimbotcalvin.
rematch.
Yeah, it's a rematch, actually.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure King Richard and Aimbotcalvin knocked them out.
Also, wait a second.
of winners.
Please tell me Jaomock is not playing without a headset, or at least earbuds.
I'm
Hey, look,
confused.
man, that monitor sound is the best HD quality sound you could
I was
possibly
gonna say,
get.
I was
surround
like, wait a
sound.
second here. Oh man, so
Yes.
yeah, we actually just got confirmation. This is a rematch
Yep.
of winners round 1, which obviously deems the fact that Jaomock and Thief were eliminated by this team. So strategies, maybe initial plays coming into this match are going to differ based off of what didn't work the first time around. We'll see how Jaomock and Thief can try to rebound. This is my sleeper
Look at
pick.
this.
I got some confidence in these boys, but
Yep.
hopefully as long as Jaomock has some sound, because that's very important.
It's kind of important. Look at this. I think everyone's dropping salty or near salty, I
Yeah.
believe. It looked like it might have been a last-minute audible that came in for King Richard and Aimbotcalvin, but we'll see where they end up here, as it's going to be King Richard, bottom side, High Mountain, who's going to be looting right next to Fatal Fields. Meanwhile, Jaomock and Thief landing at the houses outside of Salty, I believe.
Definitely so. As that was kind of interesting. They both looked like they were going straight into Salty and just like, nope, dipping out. Too many players or whatever reason why they pushed out. But, of course, this is going to be interesting. Off the rip, we're seeing the same exact strategies between the two teams. And like you said, this is a rematch. So maybe this is how they're going to play it out. They're going to play it passive and try to just play off of each other. Maybe that's the best strategy overall to go through.
And is this the first time we've actually been able to broadcast a match with Jaomock in it? I think it might be. And
I
which-
think it is,
yeah,
yes.
after what, 7 weeks of him playing in our tournaments, it's kind of funny, right? Because I know he's played with some decent players over time, not getting any discredit to any of his past, or teammates rather. But still, man, facing on with Thief, he's got a lot of experience when it comes down to a player who's had a lot of success in Friday Fortnite and Thief. Like I said, I think he's been a runner-up. He's also been a champion in these as well. So he's got a lot of experience, of course, all with typical gamer. But still, man, I'm really excited to see this team kind of face off against what is the fantastic duo-ship of King Richard and Aimbotcalvin. But man, I think Jaomock, based off of what I've seen him play, he is one of the best players in the world, and I'm finally excited that we get the opportunity to showcase his abilities. Also, one of the best builders in the game as well.
And on top of that, one of the best players in the world doesn't even use a headset. Got to give him credit for that, man.
I'm still worried. I'm not gonna lie. Like, as
What
we
has
were
he got? The
kinda talking about-
AirPods in the ear or something? Like,
I actually just got some AirPods. They are fantastic.
Well,
by the
hey,
way.
maybe they're good enough to play with, but I mean, imagine Jaomock is this good. Imagine if he had a headset. I mean, hey, the possibilities are absolutely endless. But all jokes aside, King Richard has been tearing it up. The hunting rifle kill coming in a little bit earlier. Now he brings out the tack and able to finish off another player as he pushed in here to Salty to try and just find out what he can find around here. Aimbotcalvin, of course, we don't have his perspective, but King Richard's got to be careful. He
Ooh.
took quite a bit of damage there, but luckily able to finish off his opponent.
And does have a med kit, so maybe that's
Does have a
why
med
I was
kit.
like, why didn't he build a wall? There's no reason not to, but recognizes he has a med kit. He's able to med back up in
Yep.
just a moment. One thing to keep in mind, folks, and our apologies, but Aimbotcalvin, we don't have his POV here, so that's why you see the EGL and sponsor logo at the bottom right of your screen. So we'll be watching King Richard at the top right to represent him and Aimbotcalvin. Meanwhile, you have the FaZe squad on the left-hand side.
Yeah, definitely so. They're going to be hanging out, trying to push into Salty as well, all sticking together, trying to get the resources and see some building once again as King Richard is just finding everyone, so it seems, and looks like Aimbotcalvin is going to be just above, and finally King Richard is going to be aggressive and push forward here. Of course, he is running out of mats. He's got to be careful. Will spot the player. Will he get the kill? There's a lot of shots, and luckily he does. We saw Jaomock also in the back trying to pick up the kill as well, but luckily he was able to get it. So King Richard puts him at a total kill count of 4.
Now, one thing that I'm curious about, and I haven't been able to see, I'm not sure if you guys have either. Okay, this is for the zone. I actually was getting ready to say it. So it's going to be toward their south as far as what the zone is considered. So I was curious, based off of Salty Springs, kind of where they go from here, essentially. And what would be interesting, And what I'd like to see actually from one of the squads is to maybe quickly, right? Because they're, of course, just trying to get some mats. They're trying to differentiate themselves. But what really is the call from here? And what I was actually going to say is I'd like to see a team go Dusty Divot. From there, you can kind of gatekeep around wherever it may be. You have those hop rocks at your advantage. You can kind of soar throughout different portions of the map. That's what I think we're going to see, obviously, both of our squads do at this point. But do they split off? Do they kind of go to the same areas? Once you go to Dusty Divot, kind of around that corridor, you have the option to get players from Retail Row. You have the option to get players from kind of around the Tilted Tower area. But it should be interesting to watch the difference coming through here.
Thief is just got knocked, and now we got to see Jaomock go big to try and be the savior for him. But luckily, if he does get this, he has that chug jug in his back pocket and will be able to hand that off to his buddy. But, of course, we see another player going down, and that is, in fact, going to be King Richard's teammate. Aimbotcalvin is going to be dropped. So players dropping left and right, and they're both going to be in the same vicinity. So, believe it or not, they're actually going to help each other out as they pick off the teams. And we do see Jaomock is, in fact, going to be picking up Thief, so that's a good thing on their part, but Aimbotcalvin is going to be picked up by King Richard. So all is not lost, but a little better in for Thief as he's going to have that chug jug.
Definitely so. Nice to have the added health, but also with the added shields as well. Of course, going to have to take a little bit of his time, but it's fine, right? Got plenty of time to look forward to. And, of course, with 2 minutes and 30 seconds, that's a perfect amount of time, essentially, to really work on setting up that gatekeeping role. Of course, being aware of the teams who are going to be coming out of that storm into the safe zone, but by no means is it going to be safe. You've got 4 of the most talented players in the entire world ready for you to come out of wherever you kind of were in those towns toward the eastern side.
It's a little bit scary there for, I think there was Thieves that got knocked there, as well as Calvin. King Richard, a great performance, 5 kills for him. He is currently the leader in the kills category in this one, and you were spot on, Taylor. It's going to be a Dusty Divot rotation that comes through, and it's really interesting. This is one of the first games I think we watched today where the Storm is actually behind them, where they already are. So rather than chasing the Storm, they're going to be actually pushing out and trying to find other individuals that are chasing the Storm. It's kind of like a rat race for kills at this point.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious to see the end game here because it's one of the first time we've seen the Storm Circle collapse where it's going to be at. So I'm going to be interested to see how the rotations are going to go through. But so King Richard's going to be in Dusty. Now, given his past, this is one of the areas that's kind of a little bit sketchy for him. So I want to see him come out of this and come out of it alive. Luckily, though, there's not going to be too many engagements. Well, I don't know if that's lucky at all, to be honest with you. I mean, he definitely wants the engagements. But like I said, given the past, this is kind of one of the sketchy areas for him. But he's going to be getting on the outside of the circle, trying to collapse down on players, pushing in from Tomato, pushing in from other areas, crates, and so on and so forth. But he's pushing out quite a bit here.
Yeah, what I'm curious about, like, so where the Storm is at its current state, you can really gatekeep in a number of different situations. If you go toward the eastern side, there's an opportunity for Retail Row. There's players coming out of Tomato Town, like you just said, Taylor, Risky Reels, etc. You go toward the western side, Tilted Tower. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for kills in this gatekeeping position. Of course, we see Aimbotcalvin advances forward a little bit. So we talk about the gatekeeping role in this game. As he's going to pop shot a little bit.
Going to build?
Yeah, rather kind of difficult for that player to finish those things off. But as far as gatekeeping is considered, for people who aren't familiar with exactly what that term is in BR, essentially it's you hanging right in front of the Storm, making sure that the enemy has to kind of face off against you before you hop into that safe zone, of course. But we kind of call it the gatekeeping role because those teams are trying to hold what's behind them at their advantage. And that's a great call coming in from King Richard, Aimbotcalvin. Same thing with Jaomock and Thief, as you see one team kind of prefer the righter side, or the more eastern side, and one team kind of prefer the west. In this situation, it's Jaomock and Thief are going toward that western side, which happens to be Tilted Towers.
Yep, Tilted Towers indeed. So you got to be cautious. Of course, the team leaving that tilted fight is usually at least somewhat decently skilled. Of course, the big criticism of the high kills format of Fortnite, it's like a race to find the potatoes in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, Tilted, of course, usually you find a lot of very high skill players. Got to be a little bit cautious there, as it looks like Calvin and King Richard still opting to stay towards Dusty Divot. They rotated up towards crates/containers and found just a couple kills, but finally it's going to be some static here for Jaomock and Thief.
Yeah, it's been pretty slow on the end of Jaomock and Thief, but they will spot some players as Tilted as they get the little head start in there for the engagements, and we do finally see Thief is picking up a kill himself, but before it's pretty much all been King Richard and Aimbotcalvin with the kills, but we do see a player is going to be dropped and out. That's Jaomock. He's completely gone, and Thief is as well.
Wow.
And we're seeing now, oh man, there's a total of 29 engagements still remaining now. At this point, King Richard, Aimbotcalvin, they could just play their game. They could be passive, be patient, and just keep stacking up the kills. They already had about a 6-kill lead, I do believe, and now they're going to get even more going into the second round.
And this is what I like to call a term as the final 30. We talked about the original 100, obviously, is a major factor, technically the first 98. What the final 30 is, right? We talked about the amount of engagements that are available. You think, oh, well, 100 to 30 is a much different, kind of course of things. But you talk about the amount of 30 frags. When there's a much smaller zone, the knowledge and the ability of how many players you're going to see of that 30 absolutely compares to what is kind of like the original 80, the original 90, whatever it really may be. There's so many frag opportunities, even though you could say that most of the lobby is dead, because now they're all going to be in a much more enclosed opportunity. So I think this is a great situation for Aimbotcalvin and King Richard. A lot of people at home, if you're not used to watching competitive Fortnite or even Friday Fortnite, might be thinking, okay, well, there's only 30 players alive, but that's not at all the case. There are still plenty, and so when I say plenty, many frags still possible for Aimbotcalvin and King Richard to keep padding that lead.
I absolutely love that analogy there, and it looks like they're going to try and capitalize entirely on that as they find a squad. In front of them right now, a little bit of a scary build war here, as I think it is his teammate Calvin who could get easily knocked down. It's going to be King Richard that helps secure a little bit more of a foundation to that build. And now putting some good shots right below him. Looks like he's finally going to drop here. Takes a tiny bit of fall damage, but here comes the fight. Calvin takes out one. King Richard is just hunting for kills right now. And that's a little bit of a difference there. You know, you saw HG in that last game just love to hold that high ground. King Richard likes to get in your face, a very aggressive shotgun style of player, as he's playing a little bit more aggressive here as Calvin holds that high ground.
And I think they get, like you just said, Calvin holds the high ground, so for him, he can cover more, get more coverage to come down. Great edit to come in, destroying that wall, building up his own wall to make him to be able to edit through it, and does it incredibly well. Picks up a sniper, bolt sniper in his back pocket there, plus he's got some good inventory to continue just ramping up these kills. Currently sitting at 7. Of course, Aimbotcalvin sitting at a couple himself, and overall looking fairly well to have a good sizable lead to come into the second game, but I don't know if there's a player around here. It appears so, as they'll be searching, but of course that storm is going to be right on their back, and it's moving and collapsing in, so they've got to start moving away. But looks like King Richard, he's a little bit cautious because he thinks there's a player behind him who could pose a problem.
Yeah, maybe someone potentially lurking in that storm. It's always a smart area, actually is. They knew exactly where he was, but it's actually a pretty smart strategy is let the other team roll. I think you saw Ninja do that, I believe, in the Fortnite Pro-Am, where he kind of just stayed sneaky, let other players move, and held his position, was able to take out a few as a result of that. Sometimes turtling, playing a little more passive is actually the right decision, the right thing to do.
Yeah, and I continually like what we're seeing from King Richard and Aimbotcalvin, kind of slowing down the pace a little bit. Not necessarily in the factor of, like, they're not necessarily challenging things, but playing slower as in, like, hey, we don't have to be the massive aggressors when it comes into certain roles. We're going to kind of hang out around the storm, find these kind of stragglers, the easy kills, things that we know we can kind of keep padding our stats without, you know, necessarily being in the middle of 5 fights at the same time. So I like their kind of transition from aggressive now kind of into that passive play. They're finding a happy medium, which is exactly what they want to do in the situation. They still have 15 more engagements left up, along with already, a 9-kill lead heading into Game 2. No matter what happens, I mean, 9 kills at the very least is going to call for a pretty big, I would say a very decent playbook strategy needs to come out from Jaomock and Thief heading into game number 2 regarding whatever it may be, a tilted drop retail. They're going to have to go somewhere heavy. Depending, though, is that even going to matter? Because if they can continue to pad this lead, it's going to look even more and more improbable for the other team to make it back.
No, that's not what you wanted. I was saying, geez, because they took so much damage coming out of that storm. Now their base is going to be attacked as they unfortunately just ran straight into a squad. Of course, they do have some shields to back them up, but not a lot of health is going to be in their back pocket, so they've got to play this properly and play this right. Of course, a 9-kill lead, but they want a little bit more. It drops off the minis to Aimbotcalvin to take it. Another player is going to drop right in front of him with a jump pad. Decides to build up, and rightly so, but he's got to prioritize his engagements at this point. He's got a player pushing him here. He's got players on top of the hill. He's got the high ground shooting down at him. This is a very bad spot if you're King Richard and Aimbotcalvin, but both still staying up. I've got to tell you, this is the experience.
I would say it's an even worse position for this one guy who said, yeah, I'm going to go challenge this 1v2, while my teammates are probably saying, hey, man, we'll be right behind you. And then he kind of jumps off by himself, and now he's left in a permanent 1v2. Yeah, he gets knocked down pretty easily. I don't know. Was there another enemy who came along with him?
I just saw one who jump padded in.
Yeah, like...
But there could have been more who came in. Like, we don't know.
I think someone's building down there, protecting him right now.
I was going to say, if one guy just kind of soloed this, I'm not sure about the strategy call in that situation where it's like a 1v2. Let's send up our teammate and see if he can try to find these straggling kills, because these are not guys you want to mess with. And King Richard and Aimbotcalvin, of course, in that situation.
Yeah, I'm noticing King Richard plays very, very risky, of course. High risk, high reward, which is why he's able to put up the kills he has, but likes to get in the face of people with that shotgun, at least the double heavy and tack that he's running right now. Now he's playing a little more cautious. Smart decisions right there from KR and Aimbotcalvin. They're going to take out one, I believe. One more still alive. That was the guy that was downed already.
Now, I'm still debating what happened to the team on top of the hill.
I know, right?
Did they decide to push? Well, we do see Aimbotcalvin is, in fact, going to be down. So now King Richard last up here. Did pick up some kills before. Does he go for the res? Does he go for the kills? He has to go for it. And a quick shot pump to the face, able to take him out. But no, the Storm is moving in. He can't rescue. He has no met. Get out of there, King Richard. He's got to get out. He has no Band-Aids. He has no first aid kit. He's only at 25 health. He can't afford to rescue. So it's just going to be King Richard up to this point to push forward and try and get the remaining frags.
Ooh, misses that one. The one that we saw TFUE hit before. But
At least he's got 2 more at the very least.
He'll be just fine. But great gameplay from King Richard, though. I mean, plays that perfectly, plays the Storm perfectly, doesn't take any damage to that Storm, especially because he doesn't have any heals. And he is playing with fire right now, only 75 total HP, and he's going to hit a snipe cross map right in the foot of that Omega.
Yeah, it's a very weak ankle. I'm sure that guy probably has now.
Achilles heel.
After receiving a bolt action shot like that. But a very, very good recovery, I think it's fair to say, from King Richard in that situation. They're already leading. It's not the end of the world, right, if he was to die in that situation, but he's making the best of it. Obviously doesn't survive with a whole lot of HP, 75 in total to his name. Unfortunately, does not have any meds as well. But if he can find maybe a straggling player, get some meds, kind of move on, be at that kind of victory royale stage, top 2, top 3, he can keep padding this lead, which is exactly what you want to do if you're King Richard and Aimbotcalvin. It's not necessarily finding all the kills. It's a matter of finding them in certain sequences because right now, if he can actually find the supply drop, he has a very good opportunity to really kind of maybe get back some meds. But like I said, he's not trying to go for the victory royale. He's just trying to find as many kills that are going to come his way, not trying to challenge any squads because he doesn't have to.
Yep, and I'm actually glad you brought that up because I was just going to say it's like he doesn't have an off button. He's always going, but finally he's going to slow things down, finds himself a med kit, sees that supply drop, and knows he's going to get at least a shield, at least some heals out of that, and he's going to slow things down a bit. You know, the other team's not alive. There's no urgency. There's no reason to play aggressive. Slow it down, at least pick up 1 or 2 more kills here, and secure yourself that victory royale.
I'm going to point out he also does find the
Portafort.
Oh yeah, sorry, I couldn't see it in his little inventory there. So he does find the Portafort. Now I think it's interesting about that when you're facing off against these squads. I mean, obviously players kind of toward the end going to be pretty decent teams. He's facing off against 5 players, pretty decent guys for the most part, generally. So he's going to be getting off in some build fights. I know King Richard's amazing, but if you got a decent team, it's going to be very difficult to kind of face off against them. So if he's going to be in an awkward spot, having that Portafort in your back pocket never hurts.
Yeah, absolutely not. As we see, a build fight is going to happen. Placing some traps down, or at least trying to. But that tree, those pesky trees, when you build up on them, they're so incredibly annoying. But how many? He at least has 5 more players he's got to get through if he wants to try and continue. This lead has had a great game so far with 9 kills and building up, trying to get that high ground. There is a player just below him. He's trying to spot the other ones as well. He doesn't want to get sniped from the back. That is one of the worst. Now he is, in fact, going to be taking some shots from straight ahead. Tries to go for the snipe, not able to get it. Doesn't take any damage either. Very fortunate on his part. Does he go for the quick scope? Let's see, as he is, in fact, going to be chilling out just below the ramp, and that player is going to build up. So it's going to be slow from this point forward. Like you said, I want to see how he utilizes his Portafort because I found it kind of interesting that he took it. But this is an aggressive play. You know, I typically don't see
he's going for
him
it.
act like this. But this is so refreshing to see. King Richard has stepped up his game from previous Friday Fortnite tournaments. His aggression is unparalleled at this point. His movements are so fluid. And I got to say, I am truly impressed by how much this guy has improved, Landon. I mean, you admit it. I mean, he's improved so much.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's always been an aggressive player, but I think he's playing a lot more smart now. Like, I think in a lot of other tournaments kind of leading up to this one, as he does find yet again another knockdown, wants to solidify the kill, but looks like those walls might be tampering down. 27 HP left to his name, at least as far as health is considered. Thankfully, he has some shields. By the way, he does have that Portafort. He wants to rock it, and now is the time to do so. Hops inside of that get-out-of-jail-free card, and I don't believe he has any more bouncer traps, no more excess things to escape away as the building starts to come forward. But kind of going back to that point, Taylor, I think he's playing a lot more smart, which is really the important thing to see in Friday Fortnite. It's one thing to play smart. It's one thing to play aggressive, but to do both.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my word.
King Richard takes out the Portafort, escapes danger, and some way, somehow is able to get a height advantage. What a play from him as he is so hurt, too. 27 HP and 50 shield. He's finally going to put that campfire down, but what a performance. Keep an eye, he was so low on mats, too.
Yeah.
If that fight would have prolonged another 10, 15, 20 seconds, he would have ran out of mats. Needed to get that kill when he did, and King Richard goes
Did
clutch.
you guys even...
I saw the name pop up. I saw nothing else.
All I saw
else.
was King Richard gets a kill. I didn't even see the player. Like, I don't even know how he processed that so incredibly well.
I love the emote on the back.
The emote is great. He's chopping up the competition.
A little bit of roar after.
Look at this.
Chomping up the competition.
Hey, look, hashtag it. There's look at this fort that has been amassed by pretty much 2 players. King Richard as well as whoever was poor soul was facing off against him. But now 3 players remaining. They already have a massive lead to pretty much secure this victory, or at least secure the reason they don't need to go to Tilted on the second drop.
Yeah.
We'll see the second game how it's going to go down. But
Taylor, don't jinx it, please.
I'm just saying.
Please do not.
Just they're already planning to tilt the towers.
Jaomock and yeah, exactly. Jaomock and Thieves might be thinking otherwise.
Oh, they're watching
Oh, no,
this,
no,
and they're
no.
just like,
I'm
can't.
okay with Jaomock and Thief doing it. I'm
Okay,
just saying.
if they go.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
saying
if they
if-
go. No, King
If King
Richard.
Richard and Aimbotcalvin go there, I will actually probably leave. I'm not staying here.
They
for
have a
that.
tendency to want to go to Tilted.
Yeah.
We have a 20-point lead. Go Tilted. Let's go. Where are we dropping, boys? Tilted.
Oh, boy.
Well, we're going to see
Please
it.
don't.
There's
No, please
this
do not.
circle's getting really small. He's right in the middle of it, and these 3 players are probably down there. I would have to say
Yeah.
inside these houses, just camping it up, which actually is beneficial because if these players are camping like that and they're not pushing aggressively, they're obviously lower tier players. I would have to say at least trying to use the prior engagements because they're not as confident in their building skills. That's going to give King Richard the ability to get the supply drop and loot up for the last remaining push.
Yep, needs some heals, needs a shield, and finally he gets some sort of call out, maybe sees something, hears something. He's going to turn around and avoid that supply drop, probably because the storm's also coming in on him pretty quickly here. As still no sight of these last 3 players, actually, sorry. So they must be
I think they're
camping
going
in
to come
down
right
the
out.
yards somewhere. Yeah, completely agreed. And they have to leave, I believe. That circle's not going to be covering them.
Like I said, you continue to see his turbo farming as well kind of come through. I know
Yeah.
I was touching on this earlier. The bind with the wave emote slot on your right click helps you do that a lot faster. I think it's like, 1.5 times as fast or something along those lines. I know it's every other.
Oh, hello. Traps?
Every other hit, but gets the nice knockdown into one and also
kills.
takes down the other.
Beautiful.
Fantastic plays coming through from the man, the myth, the boy in blue himself, King Richard.
And yeah, the exploit of the turbo farming is something that I think actually was able to be done before, and I believe was patched early on, and it was found you can actually do it again by using the wave emote. And it's just a player philosophy thing. I was talking to Ribs about this, who was on the broadcast a couple of weeks ago, and he was just mentioning, hey, if you're a type of player that wants to exploit it, so Epic will patch it, you'll use it, and you'll abuse that exploit until it gets patched.
Absolutely.
But some players know it's eventually going to get patched, and they won't use it. They won't give themselves that advantage. It's
Right.
just a philosophy thing.
Well, it is a 1v1 situation. We've seen King Richard now make it out from the perils of doom onto the final guy to continue the lead forward going into the second game. And I got to tell you, I respect so much the aggression from him. Oh, no, I thought he was going to fall down. Not like this, King Richard, not like this. You got to finish it up with the Victory Royale, but taking a lot of at least hits. Great building. I mean, he has improved so much, and that is going to be it. That's unfortunate, but you know what? That's okay. The only way to kill King Richard is for him to kill himself with the fall damage.
true.
That is
official.
the only way, and that's the same thing for Tim the Tapman and apparently Myth as well. But King Richard, great job coming from him and Aimbotcalvin with the score now 3-18, a 15-kill lead going into the second game. Landon, where are we dropping, boys?
I mean, I think it's fair to say
Tilted?
you got to go
Tilted?
tilted. I think what really needs to happen with a deficit like this, I think it's typical, but I think it's normal. I think you need to see a split. I think tilted is nice. I think you send one tilted, you send one retail, if not double tilted. I think you got to go for a very high class
15
area
kills
at this point.
is massive.
Right,
Yeah,
and for
100%.
Aimbotcalvin and King Richard, these guys are known for being fast-paced players as well. So I'm assuming that they're not going to go like, I don't know, to a Wailing Woods or something else, Moisty Mire.
First time Willing Woods Friday Fortnite move.
Well, Moisty's
I say
actually
it
been a
now.
spot.
Moisty has.
I say it now, but I would think they're not going to be playing super slow either. So if you're thinking the long term of this game, Jaomock and Thief, I think it's not a matter of like, hey, maybe we play passive off the start, hope that they don't find any kills. They're going to be just as aggressive, if not as aggressive as you are, which is kind of scary to say. But I want to point out, at one point in the game, we were looking, they obviously both land salty. They at the point where they go Dusty Divot. There's one situation that really kind of like turns the entire tide of that game because it was a matter of where the circle was. There was an opportunity for one team to go east toward Retail Row. There was one opportunity for a team to go west toward Tilted Towers. We saw Jaomock and Thief immediately make that initiation to go Tilted Towers, and that's when they drop. After that play happens, of course, both of them get taken down, and that's when we see King Richard and Aimbotcalvin continue on their spree, continue on their lead with the kind of lesser play, I would say the less populated area, generally at least off the start. So I don't know, man. I'm just saying, Aimbotcalvin, King Richard, you saw a little bit of a moment there where you made the not as aggressive play, and it worked out for you. So I'm just saying, hey, little strategies here. And there. I like it.
I mean,
But that
especially on
to me
15
really-
kills, there's no
Yeah.
reason to put yourself in a position to die.
Right,
Yeah, so.
exactly. So I'm hoping they don't go tilted, please. Aimbotcalvin, King
Yeah,
Richard, if you're
they,
watching the broadcast, I know you guys like to watch Friday Fortnights and whatnot.
Go
please,
tilted.
Go
Please don't.
Tilted.
Go Tilted.
There's no reason.
Go Tilted. Go big or go home. That's what I
All
gotta
I'm
say.
saying is that there was a play 3 weeks ago where they were up 8 kills and they went Tilted.
Oh, I'm
and
well
it didn't
aware.
work
We
out for them.
We saw it today too. They were up 7 kills and they went Tilted.
I know. I'm just saying.
So I'm
that-
just saying.
You're just saying, bro.
I'm just saying that you're saying that I'm saying. They're going Tilted.
Got
All
him.
right. Hey, but seriously though, great round coming in from them. King Richard has improved tenfold, and this is exactly how I want to see Envy represented. King Richard, obviously team captain, the only person on Envy right now. Team captain plus the full squad. King Richard on Envy. But no, seriously, the way he played is exactly how I expect. I've always been an Envy fan as well. Actually, really, even from the COD days pushing up. So the fact that he's representing Envy so incredibly well, and he's such a positive guy, is really good for me. It's really good for me as a fan, and good for the community as well.
Represents the brand very, very well.
It definitely does. But here we are. Game number 2. 15-kill lead for King Richard and Aimbotcalvin over Jaomock and Thief. Jaomock and Thief, they've got to get to work. This loser bracket. Hey, winner moves on. A loser is out of this tournament. And, boys, where are we dropping?
You know, it's a similar path that we saw last time. So you wonder if Aimbotcalvin, it looks like they're not going to go salty or retail, looking a little bit more passive. If they want to go really passive in this one, they'll drop towards Motel, the spot that Ninja really, really loves to drop. Maybe Pleasant Park, which is a little more passive. But it looks like Jaomock and Thieves are going to actually split exactly as we mentioned. One's dropping Salty and one's dropping Tilted. Meanwhile, King Richard and Calvin going to be going towards Pleasant Park.
It also looks like Thief is actually going to be going outskirts of Salty Springs as well. So this is a big moment. I mean, what we also got to give a notice toward Thief being down the way he is. This is all on Jaomock, right? We talk about this is a 1v4 squads heading in toward Tilted Towers.
Crazy.
You're not going to see more action than this. You're not going to see more intuition. Like, he has to be fully focused and ready to go, because if not, at any point throughout this entire play, if he goes down, the chances of Jaomock and Thief to make what already is a miraculous comeback happen starts to get even slimmer by the second.
So it definitely does. And looking at Jaomock's screen, he only has a gray AR, but he did find those minis in his back pocket, and we'll spot some players down below, but not a lot of items in his inventory and not a lot of bullets either. So he's got to pick his engagements correctly, but already taking some damage from the back. And this is not where you want to take damage, and especially with just a gray AR, you're going to be going against a lot of shotguns, a lot of subs, maybe even LMG. We've seen Ninja do that in these close, tight-knit quarters, so he's got to be careful and play his cards right. Luckily, he finds some minis again to kind of give him some padding, and he will find attack. And there's a player just below. He does have the pump, and one pump will, in fact, take him out, so he's got to be careful. He's going to back out and try and get away. Good job navigating this building overall and staying alive.
It's going to be so frustrating if you get the great tag. Obviously, he is going to take this player down, but and the initial engagement. Minus,
no! That's all.
Look
she
at
wrote.
him.
He's
so
mad at him.
Oh, my gosh.
Jeez. I was going to say in that initial fight, he does -9 damage. Like, okay, great. I literally just blew on the player. Like, I literally just, didn't even do anything whatsoever.
What
but
killed him? Was it a shot or was it C4?
I think it was C4, yeah.
Oh, man, from below, too, I think. Like, that total, you saw his reaction. We had the
Yeah.
same. That hurts. That hurts so
yeah.
much. You
I
think
mean-
you're going to do good, and just the ground just falls out from underneath you, and you're
And
dead.
not discarding Thieves by any means, because we have seen comebacks like this happen before. They are very risky, and they might have only happened once. But it's looking very slim. You see the reaction on Jaomock's face because he's realizing, hey, the probability that we come out with this victory, the probability that we get in the money is looking very, very, very slim. So with that in mind, though, Thief, of course, open book, right? He has the rest of the game to kind of think about what exactly the strategy is going to be, but he's definitely got to initiate tons of fights. Salty Springs, retail. I think his future, as far as if he gets out of Salty Springs, which he should, would be to try to advance himself toward Dusty Divot.
Good
Give yourself
job.
an opportunity to try.
Oh,
and
no.
find some more
Hell no.
frags.
Oh, he ran right past that person. I totally thought that person was going to pump him in the back as he thought he had to kill. You saw him turn around and go for the other engagement. But luckily for him, he's able to survive and pick up some much-needed loot in his inventory. And that Zoom is going to be extremely good to have in his back pocket, especially for future engagements if he decides or if he makes it, if he's lucky enough to make it out of Salty Springs. And we know this is such a volatile area as well, especially once you start putting up towards 4-story blue house as well as that brick house. Might find some engagements there. But one thing for him, though, he's on the outer edge of the circle, and he could backtrack, find some players coming out of Fatal, or even push into Dusty. So a lot of options here if he survives.
And I want to point out one thing is he actually literally just eliminates a player as fast as he possibly can with that zoom. destroys 3 quick players. That was fantastic play. But one thing that we noticed actually in that last situation, he had the opportunity to pull out 2 pumps. We see him go for the tack and the pump combo. That has recently changed with the shotgun meta, kind of not being taken out of competitive, but definitely being diminished somewhat. The heavy shotguns are now favored. We've seen players kind of prefer the tack pump combo. Heavies are obviously a thing we saw earlier. It was the heavy and the tack SMG going to work as well. A lot of different combinations. But if this were a week ago, we're probably seeing the double pump.
Yep.
And now we're seeing it be a little bit different. So it's nice to see a little bit of a meta change, obviously.
You saw that HD really kind of leading the way in that meta change. He loves the SMG. You don't see a ton of streamers use the SMG as consistently as you see HD do. I'm not sure if you guys have a chance to watch the streams. You'll see him do that very, very often. He actually prefers that SMG. So, I'm just glad the double weapons is back. Double pump, double heavies, whatever it might be. For a long time there, I missed myself with double pump.
Honestly, and the thing is we got so accustomed to using double pump that once it got taken away, it was kind of like, well, what do we adapt to? but the thing is
that became a role in competitive.
No, it did. Yeah, double pump was seriously, that was your main pusher was going to ruck double pump. Daquan, right? He was going to be pushing
aggro,
up. So but now it's changed up. But it is refreshing to see different strategies being used and see these guns used to their full potential. So we will see Thief not doing too bad. He's got 5 kills himself. His partner though died without any kills, right? Did Jaomock? No, he had 1.
I know. I think
he got a knock.
Yeah, he at least got a knock. I'm not sure if the teammates maybe.
I think he got the kill.
Okay, well, that's okay. So as we see, Thief, he has no time to slow down at this point.
Yeah.
He's got 2 knocks. He's got 2 kills in front of him, plus another who is hiding inside of this little container. And what a great job blowing through that. And then picking up the final kill, sitting at 8 total kills now with a good amount of inventory. We're looking at a high distortion play here.
Basically, but all the props to
the
him, right? In this situation, just because of the fact that he obviously was put in a pretty awkward spot. He wasn't the guy to get a lot of these kills. I mean, he was kind of playing second fiddle to what was Jaomock's original. So you imagine if Jaomock was able to stay alive, along with Thief finding these, we could be making this a totally different story. But all the credit to Thief in the situation. He kind of realizes the spot that he's in. He's down, and he's doing the best that he possibly can with the landing that he was obviously given off the start.
Yeah, not only the landing, but being down 15 kills too. So he's not only going to have to drop at least 15, but he's also going to have to outkill King Richard and Calvin, who are both still alive in this one. Not an easy feat by any means, as Thief has a mountain to climb ahead of him.
Quite literally. There's a couple mountains in front of him. We'll see how he'll be able to do when he does that. Hey, but going on top of the dusty divot to try and peer down at some players that might be there. And there is, in fact, I think I spotted a little ant straight ahead. Let's see once he gets closer. Will it, in fact, turn into a person? It's Ant-Man, for goodness sakes. We'll see as he pushes up. Does spot him. Yep, there is a person. And I believe that is a no-skin. And hello and goodbye, says Thief, as he takes him out to 9 kills in his back pocket, looking extremely well. Where is he going to push to next? Looks like he might be threatening to go salty again.
And one thing that's nice for Thief in this situation, of course, being down the way that he is, it's also nice that the enemy isn't running on his heels, at least for the time being. They're kind of on opposite sides of the map for the most part. It looks like based on where King Richard is, I don't think the Aimbotcalvin is near him whatsoever. So maybe we're seeing Aimbotcalvin
trying to
rush toward Thief to try to steal some of his kills. That's definitely what I think the strategy would be or should be in this situation. Like I said, they're up 10. They haven't had a whole lot of pushes so far up to this point, but that thermal could definitely change things around as King Richard already up to 2.
Oh my gosh,
2 shots.
2 headshots.
Did he just do 74 damage?
2 shots. That's all it
headshots.
took to take out that player.
Wow.
2 headshots. 74 damage each. That is a powerful weapon, guys. that is a powerful weapon.
That's for sure.
Not only for scoping abilities to be able to scope out your enemies up ahead, scope out your opponents, but just if you dink a head, 74 damage, 2 shots, that's unfounded.
It is.
You blink and you're downed.
Seriously.
There's like nothing you can do.
And speaking of vision talk, right? I mean, the gun that what this gun provides is obviously that vision as well. A lot of people were kind of talking and saying, they think it's balanced because of the difficulties with shooting it. And obviously that does come into play from time to time. By no means is it the easiest gun in the game to shoot, but I think its vision really, really kind of helps, or if not, kind of even brings it over what is that difficulty of accessing it or even trying to use the shooting mechanic around it as well. Because like you want to talk about structures, you were talking about even in competitive play as well. I've been reaching out to a lot of pro players, asking them kind of what their roles are from game to game, and a lot of it's kind of equipment based. Like you got your Splodes guys, you got guys who are prefer different weapon styles. Double pump was a thing for a while. You got your support AR in the back. This particular role could be something for a support player now. The Zoom was obviously nice, aka the scoped AR, but now with the thermal AR in the game, vision is so key when it comes into Fortnite. Structures, are these guys in this fort? Are they in another fort? Are we surrounded right now? Are there guys on the outskirts? Like, there's so many questions. in this game, the awareness in the game of Fortnite is so important, and this is the gun that gives you unlimited vision. So I think, while it's not the best gun for shooting, you can obviously destroy someone overall, but along with that, if you're not the best at shooting it, the vision that it provides is unparalleled. But Thieves, actually, take a look at the bottom left.
Yep.
He just eliminated like 4 players.
12 kills total.
But it's a whole squad. So Thieves with 12 kills doing what he can. However, it is Calvin and his teammate King Richard, who I believe have at least 4 or 5 kills this game alone. So that still extends their lead quite substantially. It's a tough thing to kind of overcome that. And agree, I like the meta talk about the thermal AR. I think it's a great addition. I mean, just that and the stink bomb alone in the last 2 weeks, I think were 2 of the best 2 weeks of additions I think we've seen in a long time.
Definitely agree.
Well, it looks like we will, in fact, be pushing into another location as Thief trying to get the head start above King Richard and Aimbotcalvin. But at this point, I do believe the score is, in fact, getting away from him despite his phenomenal performance overall. 15-23. That's an 8-kill lead with a total of 12 players remaining. So that means we need 4 kills for King Richard and Aimbotcalvin in order to secure this victory. 4 kills, whether it be them or be any way of them dying, whether them being killed by themselves or whatever, but only 4 frags, basically separating the victory between not the victory. We'll see now as he's going to be pushing forward. The one thing he does have an advantage, like I said, is he will be ahead of Aimbotcalvin and King Richard to spot some engagements that won't necessarily be seen by his opponents.
Also has a fantastic loadout by the means. I mean,
He
he has a blue
absolutely
AR,
does, yeah.
double heavies, along with the blue hunting rifle. I mean, there's only maybe another weapon or 2 that you could add to this to make it even better. You talk about, like, shields, whether it be like a med kit or maybe even, I guess you could add in a scar as well. But there's not too many things that can make this arsenal much better. Unfortunate thing is that he doesn't have another 100 players to face off against. But of course, heading into Anarchy Acres, obviously does have the ability to have the blue AR and the hunting rifle to go to work, but it's a matter of where are these guys at, where are they lingering. Now, obviously, we talk about the farms for a reason, whatever it really may be. Got to have the long-range weapons when it comes into these particular areas.
Such a interesting place to be, especially if you're by yourself. The floor is wide open as he's using those jump traps or bouncer traps to the best of his abilities to try and spot some players. Going to get this chest inside of this silo here, but
there you go.
He'll find a half pot, but he's going to use it out in the open. Hopefully he doesn't get sniped in the head while he's drinking that nice half pot there. Luckily he doesn't, but see now only a total of 11 engagements remaining. They're dwindling down, and I think at this point Thieves is knowing that his back is against the wall. Still not finding anybody. This is the RNG in that late game, and the problem is he's so far up inside this circle that it's going to be hard to find the players on the outside. And we notice King Rich and Aimbotcalvin, they're on the outside themselves, so they'll be able to spot anybody trying to come in from out of that storm and have maybe a bit of an advantage. But he will spot a player, and he's just missing this guy who's on top of this ramp, and he's not able to connect a shot. Unfortunately, as still players all around him, but can't seem to find shots on him, and I believe this is a squad in front of him, and this could be pretty big for him if he's able to connect.
There's finally a shot's going to connect. It looks like a couple of those shots were very close or should have hit, as now a squad that looks like they can build maybe just a little bit, and right in front of him a big fight going down. I think those are 2 teams fighting each other, so he's in a position to clean some of this up. Needs to be careful as someone is just keeping his head down and tagging him up from the very back there. Misses that shot just rarely, but he's finally going to pick up the elimination on one of the guys he downed early on.
Looking for these transition shots. Players come into the fight. Looks the nice hunting rifle compared to the regular rifle as well, as it looks like there's going to be 1 player on his backside. I believe that is going to be Aimbotcalvin joining alongside the fight, but actually a player happens to be right in front of him, needing to stay up just to make sure this thing is not totally out of the works. As of yet, he only takes ball damage. Thankfully, the nice recovery build, but these players by no means are mobile players. They are up, they are ready to go, and they want to get this victory royale, as does Thief. He might have to get the victory royale in order to make this thing somewhat probable. Of course, it's right, Taylor?
Nah, I'm just seeing. I'm sorry.
It's cool, man.
Aimbotcalvin picked up 2 kills during that engagement, so I think that might be.
That's an all she
But
wrote.
honestly, they've been like total props, right?
Oh,
to Thief
absolutely.
in the situation, he ends up landing salty. He has an opportunity to try to make something happen, but unfortunately, Jaomock drops, and he kind of has to be the aggressor in every single situation here kind of toward the end. But has a phenomenal game. Unfortunately, though, it just not that it doesn't mean anything by any means, but he put up a fight. It's fair to say, absolute credit to Thief for putting on a show, and I cannot wait to watch him kind of play throughout the rest of our tournaments because he is, without question, to me, one of the best players in the world.
And still looking for an organization. Well, apparently he has one, so I'm kind of curious where he's going to be. Obviously, FaZe is probably the one most favorite one that we're thinking. But 14 kills plus maybe some more as they'll go on. But we're going to, of course, leave the game because it's over. But 14 kills, not a bad performance. But you got to be happy for Thief and Jaomock. Of course, one of the teams at least you came in, you were curious to watch. Were you? What do you think overall about their performance, including Jaomock? Let's talk about Jaomock. What do you think about his performance overall?
I mean, we didn't really get to see them play, a crazy amount. I mean, for the most part, I wasn't like super impressed by their play, but like I said, it was our first opportunity to watch them play. Yeah. They made it far in the losers bracket for a reason. Of course, difficult winners bracket round 1 game. The later kind of rematch up against them. Not the better team when it comes into King Richard and Aimbotcalvin, whether it was their day or whether it wasn't their day today, and whether they can come back stronger is obviously the question at hand right now. But I wasn't like disappointed. It just I don't know. Like I don't think we got to watch them maybe at their best in this situation. I think having early exits obviously hurt them quite a bit. Except we talked about that one transition play in Desi Divot. Go west or east. They go west. They want higher pressure area. Jaomock gets down early. Same thing with Thief. And in this game, being down 15 kills, it sets them up to really not have a whole lot of success. So. We get to watch them play. We get to watch them play earlier a little bit.
No, it's the first game we saw.
Okay, it's the first game that we saw of them.
We thought we were going to do it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So the only series that we get to watch them play is in a series where they drop early, and then they have to kind of make a split. So to me, it's kind of hard to predict their future as a lineup and what really is to be expected. But I think they played decently well. I mean, facing off against Aimbotcalvin and King Richard, that's a very difficult team to play off against. So it's kind of hard to gauge where they're at as far as the standings are considered. So
yeah, I think I agree with you. We didn't see a lot of them, but what we did see was game 1, they die and tilted in a 2 versus 4. Meanwhile, we've seen some people really step up in that moment and under that spotlight. High Distortion is a good example of that. We saw a couple other individuals do some great things. The 2v4, they die and tilted. Jaomock goes down early in tilted again in game number 2. So not the best performance today. It's nothing to say that they're not phenomenal players in their own right. But of course, we look forward to seeing them play in future weeks of Friday Fortnite.
Yeah, and Jaomock is just a phenomenal guy in general. I listened to him. They did a great interview on the Fortnite podcast where he was there and he talked about his competitive history and how he had moved forward and he's very humble, very good guy overall.
Great story.
So.
He's also very tall.
He's very tall.
He's like 8'7" or something like that.
8'7", yeah, I believe.
I think something like that.
But great guy overall and phenomenal performance from him. Hopefully we'll see more of him in our tournaments, which we should. I think he's been in every single Friday Fortnite tournament so far.
I believe so. I think
he usually played with like off-brand people, maybe like some YouTube stars.
I know last week he played with Zuckles, I think.
Yeah.
And which obviously a very talented player. But yeah, I think he's usually kind of playing with like some of the I think he played with Banks or a few kind of in-house like FaZe organization players or like kind of members and whatnot. But yeah, I'm really excited to see like his continuation, whether or not him and Thief kind of continue as a duo. Maybe he plays with Space, maybe he plays with Tempo. I want to see him play with Tempo. Of course, the other two guys to that FaZe lineup right now. I'm curious to see whether or not they want to team up and kind of continue. But future lies ahead of them.
I got to give a lot of respect to King Richard and Aimbotcalvin. We've had a chance to watch them play twice today, and both times they have really, really performed. Particularly King Richard has really played well today. Yeah. I'm excited to see them advance in the losers bracket.
Yeah, absolutely so. But we're going to continue monitoring the loser bracket along with you guys. Make sure you're tweeting out the tournament using the hashtag Friday Fortnite. Check us out at umggaming.com. And also, too, if you want to check out any of our Twitch clips from highlights from this tournament that the production crew is hard at work on, go to @UMG Events on Twitter. Check them out. And, of course, review your favorite moments. But, guys, we'll be right back after this commercial break. Don't go anywhere. More exciting action coming your way.